On this special episode of Making Sense of Ourselves, we want to bring you the voices of our discussion leaders from the Sensemakers Club.
My name is Sarah Rice, and my pronouns are she, her.
My name's Mary Megan Moore, pronouns she, her.
Why did you decide to become a leader at the Sensemakers Club?
I was missing some sort of professional community where I could hang out with other like-minded people and kind of, geek out on the things that I like to geek out with. And I've been in other professional communities, and there's something about being able to be relaxed and also around professional peers that has been very appealing to me. And also doing some sort of, leading a discussion group felt pretty natural. I felt there were a couple of different topics that I was interested in and kind of put those forward as suggestions, and felt like it was a pretty easy ask to show up and be with other people. And, I wasn't required to teach or say anything profound except for, hey, welcome. Welcome to the group, and how can I make you feel comfortable? So I really have appreciated that part of it.
There was a feeling of loneliness almost, because as a contractor or consultant, you're always kind of an outsider. You're switching teams constantly. You don't have a lot of those internal resources or even communities to build if you're working remotely. And I was just desperate to validate some of my experiences, maybe learn some things before learning trial by fire, and just kind of validating some of my experiences, because I was just trying to figure it all out myself, made a lot of mistakes, and it's been really great to have these discussions with people that get it and have experienced it all, especially Sarah being the veteran and me being the newbie. I every time we talk, I get just this nugget of wisdom from her and the group, and it's been turning into a really great community too, which I wasn't expecting.
Tell us about your topic. What was the most recent discussion about?
Yeah, we run the consultant support group. We have a lot of different topics and themes, we've taken on from that, self-care, business management, all the types and variety of consulting there are, how to network, how to build a business, how to position your business. And it's been really cool to see the variety of consultants and the wide variety of experiences everybody's been having.
The most recent discussion was about what happens really when life gets very lifey. Mary Megan and I, we meet in between our monthly discussions so that we can, plan and kind of figure out what we're doing next. And she was having a moment. And I heard that, and I can remember like so many times over the years, it's like I started a family while I was doing my consulting career. And so I knew how important it was to try and understand, it's like, okay, how do I balance my life and my consulting, especially when it's my job as a consultant to structure my day and my, how I engage with others. My structure is not imposed upon me. I'm the one who provides structure for my business. And so it can be a challenge. And so when she mentioned that, I was like, hey, what a great topic. And then I asked permission. I'm like, is that okay with you? And she loved the idea. So we went with it, and it turned out to be a really great discussion.
What has surprised you about leading this topic?
Yeah, I have really loved everyone's analogies. I really appreciate collecting all the analogies, you hear around. And I'm not sure it was in our discussion group, but maybe in a leadership huddle, we talked about the being a consultant is a little bit like being a plumber. Like if a business is a house, a lot of times you get called in because there's a sewage leak and they just want you to clean up the shit in the basement, right? And how do you become the consultant that comes in to either fix the leak or, even better, design the system so it doesn't leak in the first place? So just that kind of plumbing analogy really tickled me. And then there was another one about how you define yourself, and they use the restaurant analogy. So, you need to sell yourself and you need to define yourself. So are you McDonald's with a really good process and very quick? Are you sit-down restaurant with a full experience that's curated? And it really made me think about how I am putting myself out into the world and how my clients see me.
One that really has lasted for a long time with me is when someone who is just very well steeped in consulting showed up, and they were talking about the restaurant analogy, and the thing that I took away from that is there was a stepping back and kind of reflecting. It wasn't just like, hey, let's just jump in and do our work. There was a stepping back, and it's like, how do we see ourselves? And how do we want to present ourselves? So it was very strategic, so that it's like how can we be strategic in how we present ourselves, how we market ourselves, and even like how we build our business. And I really appreciated that a lot.
Where do you hope to push your topic in the future?
I'm feeling like it's less about like what topic do I want to explore, and it's more about like how do I want to be engaging with these people. I kind of feel like, yes, monthly discussions helpful, and what is it that can help us continue to have people show up regularly? Is it simply, do we continue with our monthly discussions? Is there something that we can build together, like a repository of knowledge or resources? Is there something that we could do for one another? Like, could we get together and have sessions where we're just like working side by side? Are there, like, how could we interact in different ways, or is there even a need for that? I've just started to explore, like, what are some possibilities? Just exploring the thinking. I'm in the thinking phase of things, but just kind of pondering, what might that look like, and what do people have time for, and what is the need? And that's kind of what's been on my mind.
The impetus between me submitting my kind of topic idea to Abby at the beginning was such a tactical, specific problem. I was struggling with 6 different calendars for agencies and clients, and nothing syncing because you can't share anything, and feeling like I couldn't wrap my hands around all of the chaos of being a consultant that bounces between all of these different environments and schedules and contexts. And it's so funny now that we've been leading these discussions, I would phrase that completely differently now. Like, that is very like a tactical in the weeds thing. And now I would maybe get with Sarah and rephrase that of like, how do you protect your focus or build structure into your business and your day and your interactions with clients? How do you set yourself up for success, really? It's really interesting how even just framing prompts I've changed my mindset on since as being a leader.
What other groups have you participated in?
I've been to the government one, the mindfulness one, artificial intelligence, teams of one. The thing that I've enjoyed seeing some of the same people in different groups, and some of them I show up and I'm like, I like for the neurodiverse group, it's like, I personally don't identify as someone who's neurodiverse, and I'm interested in just like understanding more. So, so here I am, and like nobody had a problem with that. Everybody was warm and welcoming, and and if I felt like I had something to offer to the discussion, I would jump in, and it flowed very smoothly. It was, it just seems reflective of this community. So yeah, all around, and really interesting and thought-provoking discussions on a lot of different topics.
So I joined the leadership meeting one day, I saw some old coworkers of mine were hosting it, and I was just so excited that I was like, I got to jump on real quick and hang out and see what's in there. I had a great time, but it is a goal of mine to carve out more time and plan, like Sarah said, open your calendar at the beginning of the week and see if there is a slot that works, because they're all fantastic conversations. And the community overall is like so welcoming. What I've learned from leading is, leading makes me accountable to show up and forces me to carve out the time. And every time I'm like, oh my God, that was so good. I need to make more time for myself and my career development and, immersing myself with other Sensemakers. And so leading the group has actually kind of set some goals of mine to make more time, because as a consultant and a contractor, we talk about this a lot in the group. Our calendars are nuts, bouncing between 6 different ones. It is hard to do the planning. And when you're hourly, time is literally money. So you're taking an hour of your day. That's a part of your paycheck. But it is highlighted how necessary that time is to connect and take a deep breath and just enjoy the conversation.
What do you hope to see as the club grows?
I hope to see more people joining in. And I would also love to see, I've really enjoyed the direction of the member-led discussion on a topic that somebody was like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's do this. And so members feeling comfortable enough to kind of go, hey, this might be a good idea. Let's do this. And other people kind of being like, hey, yeah, let's do that. Having the community being, more and more self-organizing and doing things that are important to different people in the organization and getting the support that's needed just kind of warms my heart.
I'm kind of hoping that we make some of the channels a little more accessible so that a lot of our interaction isn't just video calls, because one of the things we're finding, and you heard me earlier talk about it, is really hard to carve out time in your calendar. All of the topics are so interesting. I want to go to all of them, but how can I interact and engage in a quicker, more frequent way? So, right now you have to be really intentional to go to the Sensemaker Club, to join in the chat. How do we pull that kind of more into our working space so that our community is kind of sitting with us during the day? And I think that might lead to a little bit more of that kind of dynamic, interesting, pop-up idea that Sarah mentioned. It's just if we can engage in different ways, I think the community will find some interesting outlets.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think the only thing I wanted to bring up is, for me, it's always a balance between the things that I would love to do and want to do, and then, okay, how much time and effort can I really put into it? And so I've really enjoyed that I'm really able to participate. We all kind of pitch in where needed. And so it's it feels like the onus doesn't land squarely on one person too much. Well, I mean, I don't know what it's like for Abby, so I won't speak to that. But it's I don't feel like everybody's relying on me, or it's I pitch in where I can, and so it feels doable, and I love that.
That I think would be, you picked up on the only other thing that I thought was fascinating is just seeing Abby put this, hey, do you have a prompt that you want to talk about, to how she so thoughtfully rolled it out and brought it to life really quickly, because it is not easy to wrangle this many professionals who are inundated with calendars and emails, and she stepped us through so seamlessly, and it was just so cool to see it go from that LinkedIn post for ideas to, okay, we're launching a full product, and it was pretty incredible to see.
Thanks for listening to this special episode of Making Sense of Ourself. We'll be in your feed once a month with longer episodes featuring myself, Abby Covert, and Alfia Lowe. And we're trying to do these episodes with discussion leaders on a fairly regular basis. Thanks for listening, and until next time, be clear.